Hi to everyone. And last class we were under discussion of up to the point of optimal choice of a consumer. Then later on we were under discussion of demand analysis. See, the word demand is not only the word where we used to call in day-to-day life and activities. The word demand is somewhat different from what we already heard in our mind dictionary. Now coming to the word demand, in general parlance we used to call demand sometimes as a desire, need or necessity, sometimes order, request. You may call it with the different names, but the word demand has a different meaning in the parlance of economics. So the word demand, it is not just mere desire, neither need, okay, nor necessity or want or requirement. Synonymously, we used to exchange the word demand with these different terms, but the word demand has a different meaning in our subject point of economics. So, the word demand, not to call any desire as a demand, need as a demand, or want or requirement or necessity as a demand, it must fulfill three features. Coming to it, first one, desire to buy. Desire to buy. Second one, willingness to pay. Willingness to pay. Third one is about ability to pay. Do you remember? Mere missing of any of one character from the three, then that cannot be termed as a demand. Coming to one is, first, a person must have a desire, right? He must have a willingness to make a payment for it, whatever it is, a good or service or both, and he must have an ability. If you miss any of one among it, then that cannot be termed as a demand. Still, we are under the discussion of the word called only a demand. We are not yet entered to the demand function, neither the law of a demand. Now, coming to the word called a desire. When you have a desire, even though you have a willingness, but if you don't have a capacity to make a payment, then that cannot be termed as a demand. It's just a stupid desire where you cannot achieve the things. For example, I have a desire to ride on the clouds, right? Only a mere desire cannot fulfill my wants. That may be a requirement, that may be a need or a desire, but that cannot be termed as a demand, which we've already discussed in the last episode. So, a demand is one where it must fulfill how many features? Three features. Coming to it, first one, he must have a desire to get, and he must have a willingness to make a payment for it. At the same time, he must have a capacity. Even if a person has a willingness as well as the ability to make a payment or a capacity to make a payment, if you don't have any of a desire to get it, then also that cannot be termed as a demand. For example, you take any of a person who has born with a golden spoon, okay, and he has an ability to make a payment for any of the things in a fractions of seconds, and even he has a willingness to make a payment. But what if we don't have any of a desire on a particular good or service, then that cannot be termed as a demand. So one has to fulfill how many desire means features? Three features. Now coming to the point called demand or quantity demanded, we must go through with the main part of it. So quantity demand is one where consumer is ready to buy certain quantity of goods for a particular price for a particular period of time. So once I'll repeat. So first one, a demand or quantity demanded is one. QD is one where a consumer is ready to buy, not plan to buy, ready to buy a certain quantity of goods for a particular period of time and particular for a price. So three things you can mention here. One is about a consumer is ready to buy certain quantity. Here the certain indicates exactly in a definite form. Coming to the second one, it should be have priced particularly and particular period of time. Okay, so if you miss any of these three, then also that cannot be termed as a quantity demanded. For example, you have a definite so quantity, certain goods of need, right? At the same time, you have a price for it. At the same time, but what if it is a wrong time? then also that cannot be termed as a demanded, it's just a desire. Okay, then this is called quantity demand. Now coming to the next one, that is called demand function. Demand function. So how demand functions its activity? Then what factors will influence on the demand? Now coming point, see, if you take any of example like character of a particular student, okay, a character of a particular student is influenced by many things, not only the teachers or mentors group, parent group, or neighbors, friends. Many things will influence a character of a student or character of anyone. Likewise, to increase or decrease a demand for a particular commodity or service or any of our good or services, in such case, many factors will influence, like price, quality, quantity, guarantee, warranty, brand, recognition, offer, season. Many things will affect. Among that, the most influencing factor which affects on the demand, then that is called demand function. So, demand function is a relationship between. So, demand function, it refers to functional relationship between demand and its determinants. So the factor which determinants are there, the relationship between the determining factors and the demand is what we used to call as a demand function. Then what are the determinants then? So for what we discussed now, like quality, guarantee, warranty, quantity, rate, price, many things will come, but important are 4 are there. How many are there? 4. Coming to it, such as price of a commodity, price of related goods, okay, like substitute goods or complementary goods. Likewise, now coming to it, income of a consumer, then taste and preferences, are we clear? So there are the n number of factors are there which affects the demand either to increase or decrease. So among that, the most important factors which decides the demand, that is the price of a commodity. Generally, when a price increase or decrease do affect on the demand. Generally, almost all class of the people will look after the price and the brand. Likewise, then price of related goods means related goods like substitute goods like tea and coffee. Okay, you take any of so nearest which satisfies the satisfaction, then the all comes under price of related goods, like the income of a consumer. So the pocket what you have filled with the budget, then that also decides what kind of a goods you accept and reject most of the time. Then that also decides demand and the taste and preferences and many more. You can further etc. Don't need to go with the deeper side of it. Are we clear? So our taste and preferences do change according to the season. Are we clear? Then this is where we need to understand the demand function. This carries a weightage of 2 marks. So they may ask question, what do you mean by demand function? So demand function is a functional relationship between demand and its determinants, and they are price, price of related goods, income as well as the taste and preferences. Now after the demand function, we must understand demand equations. See, in economics, we cannot put all the things in a theoretical form. We need to put certain things in an experimental way, in a mathematical form. Then that is called an equation. See, so all of a sudden you cannot put the theory as it is in the minds of people. Sometimes you have to prove what you want to say. In such case, we need to put the things in equation form. Likewise, demand has equations, and the demand equations are classified into 3 types are there. three are there. Coming to it, first one is a general equation. Okay, general equation, specific equation. Third one is about a linear equation. Linear equation. Okay, a general equation can be explained as like this: QD. QD means quantity demanded. QD equals to F of P, PR, Y, P, and many more. So, what are the factors which influence in general? Then those all the factors are known as a general equation, where QD refers to your quantity demanded, F stands for your functionalizes. Are we clear? Then P, PR, Y, T represents. P means the price of a commodity or service, price of related goods. Then meantime, income. Y stands, we already discussed about Y stands income. Income of a consumer, taste and preferences, quality, guarantee, warranty, brand, whatever you can add up. A number of things will affect. But among that, all these are known as independent factors which affect on the quantity demand. It's a demand dance the tune of all these factors. Are we clear? So specific equation. So specific equation can be highlighted as QD equals to F of P. Among the n number of variables in the quantity demand equation, the most influencing factor which do create changes in the demand, that is our price. Now that is P, here the independent value which affects the most level quantity demand. Now coming to the discussion of the today's session, that is about linear equation, where we need to put it in a mathematical form. Then that is about QD equals to A minus BP. So this only a formula weightage of 2 marks. He may ask directly a question, what do you mean by, or bring down the linear equation? Okay, if they may ask like this, or they may ask in the fill in the blank, or 1 or 2 marks in general question. So QD equals to A minus BP. Here the QD represents dependent factor. A and B are the constant values where which you need to put it in an example form. Then here the P indicates price, which is the independent value which affects on the dependent value called QD. Then here the minus indicates, you can observe here, the minus indicates a inverse relation, a inverse relationship between two variables. One is a dependent variable, that is called QD. Next one is a independent variable, that is called price. And be remember, this is guaranteed for 2 marks. Then if you want to digest this QD equals to A minus BP, then we need to go by the detailed version of it. Then that is called quantity demanded, the linear function, the schedule, and the rest of the things. So we'll discuss in coming classes the rest of the part of a quantity demanded. Are we clear? Then, so there are how many equations are there? 3 are there. First one is a general equation, specific equation, and linear equation. Are we clear? After this, we need to understand how the demand curve will look like. Simply we cannot call this is a demand curve, this is a demand schedule. We cannot put like that. We need to put it in a, as I said, mathematical form. For example, for that we need to understand the next topic of today's session. Then that is called law of demand. You can understand the law, how it works. Are we clear? So law of demand, this is damn sure for 2 mark question. Okay, law of demand states okay, like this: if other things remain constant, if other things remain constant, which is also called as ceteris paribus. Okay, ceteris paribus. If other things remain constant, if price increases, demand decreases. Demand decreases. If price decreases, if a price decreases, then demand increases. They remember, this is guaranteed for how many marks? 2 marks. For the coming next all the classes, you need to understand this law first. Subject to, there are the 4 determinants are very important: price of a commodity, price of related goods, income of a consumer, taste and preferences. Among the 4 determinants, we have taken one determinant. If rest all the things are remain constant, if other things remaining constant, then this is called capitalist paradox. In reality, that is not possible to make a constant, but for understanding of this law, they had made a constant. Then if other things remaining constant, if price increases, if price increases, demand decreases. Okay. If a price decreases, demand increases. If other things remain constant, in the sense there should be constant of PR should be made as a constant, income must be made as a constant, taste and preferences are also made as a constant, rest of all the things must be made as a constant, then you can understand the law of demand. Now you can observe these arrows. They are moving, is it in the same direction or opposite direction? In the sense they are moving in a opposite direction. Then this is called inverse relation, which we have taken already an example called linear equation. That is called QD equals to A minus BP. Here the minus indicates an inverse relationship between the price and the demand. If a price rises, demand fall. If a price fall, demand rises. Be remember, here the demand is the dependent variable on the price. Price is the independent variable. Demand will take the changes according to the changes in the price, but prices never changes according to the demand. According to this law of demand, price is the independent variable, demand is the dependent variable. So stay tuned. In the coming classes, we'll understand a bit more explanation part of this demand concept. Thank you.